Around 2 months ago, I was driving around in my Toyota Corolla with around 60,000 miles on it, and unfortunately, I got into an accident and completely ripped up the front left side of the car. I sent it into the insurance company, and they told me it was a complete and total loss. They're gonna send me money for the car, and I have to go look for a new car. This pissed me off because I liked my Corolla. It was all black, tinted windows, leather seats, SE edition. I liked it. It was a good car. I paid it off for 2 years, but when you run bad, you run bad. So I started looking for new cars. I looked at the Toyota Camry SE edition. That was okay. I looked at the Kia K5 GT line, which was also okay. But after looking at the prices, I'm like, damn, these cars are freaking expensive. I didn't want to go super used. I wanted to go relatively new. And then I started to look at some luxury vehicles because they really weren't that much different in the prices. I've always wanted an Audi or a BMW or a Lexus. So after shopping around a little bit, I settled on a brand new 2024 Audi A3 all blacked out edition. I bought this thing with 7 miles on it. Super nice black exterior, beautiful rims, and my favorite part about this car is the inside. It's just beautiful. Look at this. Leather seats. Really nice center console and whatever you call this. It's really sleek. Kind of looks like almost a Tesla a little bit. Inside here with the digital logs. Up sunroof, the back seat, all brand new, nice leather. This is pretty cool for me. This is a pretty big deal for me because I've never purchased a brand new car before. Every car I've had has always been a couple of years old with some thousands of miles. I also lived down here in Florida and I had some beat up cars because people would run into. So for the first time in my life, I'm almost 31 years old. I bought a brand new car. It's amazing. I freaking love this thing. It drives great. I've had it for 2 weeks now. And today we're taking this baby to Seminole Casino, Coconut Creek. We're going to be playing some 10-10, no limit. Let's hope to run good. Let's go. Alright, enough with the car stuff, let's get to the poker. First hand here at Coconut Creek is pocket aces on the button. There's a straddle on, 6-handed, there's a raise to 75 in the cutoff. I decided to get very tricky here on the button and just call, hoping that maybe one of the blinds would squeeze, or maybe I can trap this cutoff player. He may have a medium strength hand in the cutoff, and I could potentially win a big pot. Flop comes down, jack high, he checks, I bet 125, and he check calls. Turn card 7 of clubs, now bringing in a flush draw, brings in some straights as well, 5, 6, and 9, 10. Not my favorite card, and my opponent now leads into me for a $425 bet. This is a big bet, and I feel like he's probably not bluffing here, but it doesn't make too much sense. I feel like he would bet his straight draws on the flop. If he had an overpair like queens or kings, he would probably bet on the flop. Wouldn't he bet a set on the flop? So I'm going to call, evaluate. I did slow play pre-flop. Let's hope we didn't trap ourselves. River card, 10 of diamonds. This run out is not getting any better for our hand. And a 9 makes a straight. Tons of 2 pairs now beat us. But when he checks over to me, I pretty quickly check this one back. He announces he has an 8. And aces are good. I haven't done too well at this game, not because the game is not good, but just because I've ran bad at this game in the past. I've made some vlogs where I've lost a couple thousands of dollars. I'm hoping today we can turn that streak around and try to book a win here at Seminole Casino, Coconut Creek. I've got pocket 4s, and instead of raising pre-flop, I decide to just open call for $25 in the cutoff. Button calls, big blind calls, and straddle checks as option. 4 ways to a 6-3-4 flop with 2 clubs. We flop middle set, multi-way. I bet $50 when it checks to me. Button calls $50. And then now the big blind, a pretty solid pro, re-raises me to $250. Normally I would be ecstatic getting raised with middle set, but versus this player, I feel like he's not getting out of line here. We could be beat by a bigger set or a flop straight. I just make the call, play it safe, and on the turn we make a full house right away. It is a 3. Feeling very good about my hand, and now my opponent decides to check over to me. An interesting spot. He check raised big on the flop, now checks this board pairing turn. I feel like a lot of the time he's going to have a big combo draw, like a straight draw and flush draw. If he has one of those hands up against our full house, there is no way for him to win. So I don't want to bet too big and scare him off. I make it 275, and my opponent makes a pretty quick call, going here to the final card, which is an ace. This really shouldn't change anything unless he had the ace-high flush draw. He checks over to me for a second time, and I have to decide now, how big should I bet? I don't expect him to have a better full house than me. I don't even really expect him to have a straight. Feel like he's either going to have a flush draw or straight draw that misses, or maybe he ran into the ace-high flush draw that made top pair on the river. So I decided to go with a smaller sizing, $350, giving him some room to call with worse hands. But he doesn't call. He now check raises me to $1,200, and I am in a very weird spot. The reason I say it's weird is that I have a very strong hand, a full house, but my opponent is showing a ton of strength here. I'm never folding my hand, but now I'm thinking, should I jam all in for my last $2,000, or should I just flick in the call? I'm losing a pocket sixes and pocket threes for quads. He should never have pocket aces, but would he call with a straight or ace three if I jam all in over his $1,200 bet? Feel like he wouldn't, so I'm just going to play it safe and call, and immediately regret it when he announces straight and shows 5-7 for a flopped straight versus my pocket fours. Full house, kind of a tilting situation there. Maybe I could have gotten paid off if I went all in. He did tell me he would have folded if I would have went all in over his $1,200 raise. Either way, can't complain. A nice profit being pushed in our direction. Looking back now at the editing table, this is just a clear jam all in with my hand for the amount of money that I had behind. Maybe if I had $10,000 in my stack and he covered me, I wouldn't want to reopen the pot and just call. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this hand. Over the next hour, I win some small to medium-sized pots, and now I'm up about $2,500 on the session before looking down at Queen 10 of clubs. There's an early position raised by an action player to $100. I call, straddle calls, and we go three ways to the flop. Queen high, all spades giving me top pair. Checks to me, I bet $200, straddle folds, but the initial raiser from early position makes the check call. Turn card pairs the board. Feel like it's a great card to continue to bet. Can get value from ace high, king high straight draws, some ace or king high flush draws. I make it $350. No, this was not a string bet. I announced my bet before I put the money out there. Back over to the initial raiser, who doesn't think for too long and makes the call for $350. Alright, I'm somewhat confused of what he has, and when the river card's a king of clubs, no extra spades, when he checks, I'm just going to be checking this one back. But he doesn't check. As you can see, he leads right out for a $1,000 bet. One big oversized pumpkin chip. And now I'm in the tank. I've played with this guy a few times. He is a wild card. He has been enjoying some drinks. He's definitely capable of putting in some big bluffs. I've seen it before. But I feel like he probably just has it here. Maybe he hit a king with ace king, king 10. Could have possibly a slow played flush, maybe aces. I don't know, don't see many bluffs in his range, so eventually I fold, and he does show for the vlog.
Bluff.
Oh, you had it. Okay, you had it.
Now you made the block.
For those of you who don't remember the board, that's a full house. My opponent raised with Jack 4 offsuit. This game is definitely out of the muck. The same player from the last hand now raises to $125. I peel back ace king of diamonds and re-raise to $400. If he's willing to raise hands like Jack 4 offsuit, I gotta be 3-betting him quite often, and definitely when I have some super powerful cards like ace king suited. He makes the call, which I expected, and we get a very nice flop of queen 3 deuce, 2 diamonds. Not only do we have the nut flush draw, we have 2 overcards, and I feel like on this board he shouldn't connect very hard. I mean, it's not many middling cards, but, you know, you never know. He could easily have queen 3 or deuce 3 suited. I bet $275. He looks back at his cards and makes the call. Turn card's a queen. This is my least favorite card in the deck. Kind of hard to keep representing overpairs or strong hands if I continue to bet, so I decide to slow down now against a sticky player who doesn't like to fold and check this one back. River card is a red 4, but not the one we were looking for. It's the 4 of hearts. He checks again with ace high, busted flush draw. I'm just going to check this one back. Hope my hand is good, and it's not. We lose to 8-3 offsuit for a pair of threes. Down hundreds of dollars now to this action player, but that's just the name of the game. Sometimes you're going to win some pots, and sometimes you're going to lose some pots. Ran a little bit bad that I couldn't hit my flush or my pairs or anything like that. We're now probably even or down a little bit of money. We then play for another hour or so and continue to win or lose small pots before the last hand of the night. There's a raise and a couple calls, and I peel back pocket kings. I re-raised to $400. Initial raiser folds, but the small blind who called the $75 to begin with makes the call, and the action player playing almost 100% of hands makes the fold. Oh, well, he must have had 8-deuce offsuit. Who knows? Pocket kings now to a flop of queen 7-9 rainbow. Small blind checks to me. A c-bet on this board would make sense, but sometimes I like to play a little different. This time I check back. Mostly I check back here because I feel like it's hard to get value from a worse hand for 3 streets against this player with pocket kings. Turn card 6, he checks again. Now I'm going to start betting. I make it $350, hoping maybe he'll hero call, bluff catch, or maybe bluff, but neither of those happens. He snap folds, we win this pot, which ends up being the last one of the night for us. I end up racking up my chips, heading to the cage, and cashing out for the night. All right, guys, that is it for this one. We're back in the brand new Audi A3. Gonna be driving this bad boy home later on. We ended up profiting $1,100 on the day. Kind of an interesting session. Had a big hand early on there, pocket 4s, turned a full house versus a straight. Won pretty big pot there. Probably could have won a bigger pot if I would have played it a little bit differently. Then I just kind of lost. What I don't show you guys, obviously, on the vlog is every hand that I get dealt in and every hand that I fold, every hand that I raise and miss, and every hand that I call and miss, because that would be like a 2-hour vlog. I show you guys the most interesting hands of a 6 or 8 hour session. So of course, there's going to be long periods of time when I'm just folding, losing bomb pots, losing with raises, losing with 3 bets. And that happened tonight. I was up like $2,000 and I ended up going down like $1,000 or $2,000, and I came back a little bit. Not the most exciting session, not the huge biggest hands. I mean, the biggest pot I played with, I think, was like that pocket 4s hand for around, let's say, like a $3,000-ish pot. So nothing crazy, but that's how poker is sometimes. Sometimes you just grind through a session, you profit $1,000, and you drive home to your puppy and get some food, because that's what I'm going to do later on. I didn't really mention, I did mention that I was going to go to Boston, and I didn't end up going. If you guys noticed, I didn't post any Boston videos. The reason I didn't go is because there was a hurricane that was coming straight towards Florida, and then it was going to veer up north, and the trajectory of the hurricane was going to hit Boston on the exact day that I was going to be flying out. I just didn't want to fly all the way to Boston, have a big hurricane hit, and everything be shut down, and airport shut down, get stuck up there, so I decided to reschedule my trip. Eventually, I will make it out to Boston, but I also think I'm going to be going to Dallas to play in the live stream here in mid-October. I'm excited for that. Haven't really been traveling too much throughout this summer, kind of been a little bit more of a homebody playing these other games here, and it's been nice, but want to get back on the road, want to go to Texas, want to go back to Vegas, LA, maybe some other places as well. And I also have some more announcements coming up next, some things I've been thinking about, including meetup games, and another fun announcement. I'm not going to talk about that yet. I'm going to announce that later on. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, thank you for subscribing, commenting, liking, showing up every single week. I really appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see ya.